Hey, what's up guys? I'm finally back on YouTube. For those of you checking in on me through the comments of my old videos, asking if I'm still alive or if I'm still gonna do YouTube. I know for the past 2 years I've been saying, yes, I'm alive and I will eventually start doing YouTube again. So here I am. So I recently just picked up this LY6. One of my dad's buddies was selling it for like 250 bucks. And we were originally gonna put it in his 51 Chevy. I'm not gonna lie, my dad was a little hesitant on buying it. And so I was like, shit, I'll buy it. But anyways, so we have the 6-liter, it's the LY6. It has 823 heads, which are over here. We already pulled them off just because the guy that had them before only had like one bolt holding them on. So a little background from my understanding on this engine. Apparently it's warranted, so that means someone took their truck to the dealership, their engine was not running right or whatever, looked into it, saw something was messed up, and it was just cheaper to put in a new engine. And so what that means is they just tossed this engine, and for some reason my dad's friend had it, and so he wasn't going to do anything with it. He races cars. This was just sitting in his shop for a while. So while I was getting the engine ready, I took out the valley cover. So I really wanted to see what the damage was for this lifter, because I knew that push rod was all messed up. And you can see on the camshaft right there, that is no bueno. And then if you look on that lifter, see if I can get it to focus better. There you go. The roller on the lifter is completely gone. So that'll cause some damage. Hopefully nothing else got messed up in the engine as far as like the pieces of the lifter getting in and messing anything else up. The only way to find out is to take it apart. So here we go. All right, here goes nothing. I've actually never done this before, so hopefully it's right. Well, I tried to set it up so the engine wouldn't do that and spin on me, but it did. So now I'm gonna try to mount it. So I got the camshaft out now. It's actually a couple days later than what you previously just saw. I also just happen to be wearing the same exact clothes, coincidentally. But here, if we take a look at this lobe, this one right here, it's completely worn down. It's got burrs all over it. It's not good. So this is the lobe that had the lifter that went out on it. So it seems like I've missed a lobe that was damaged on this cam. It's a pretty intense groove on there. Now that I have access to everything, I'm going to go ahead and take off the oil pump I'm gonna have to take the pistons out in order to get the lifter through the lifter bore. I wasn't able to pull it out. It seems like it mushroomed out whenever it kind of exploded, so yeah, hopefully I can get it out. It's pretty hot in this garage, so I'm about to call it a day. But I'll give y'all guys a rundown of kind of what I have found wrong with this engine so far. Also, I'm no expert, so I kind of don't really know what to look at sometimes. I always ask for my dad for some help. But one of the first things I did notice, other than the lifter and all that being broken on this engine, was the chain tensioner. It was just gone. I don't know if that was the issue, if that's what caused everything else to go bad. As far as the crank looks okay. Also, according to my dad, there's really nothing wrong with it. There might have been some surface rust starting to form, but I'm gonna wipe everything and wrap it up and oil it up before I call it a day. There is some surface rust on the counterweights or counterbalances, but other than that, the crank looks okay. This caught my eye a little bit. It looks like some debris hit the back of this piston. Same thing with this one. And which other one? Right here as well. These pistons do have a lot of wear on the skirts. We really have no background on this engine, so this engine could have been ran like way too hard, rev way too much, etc. So this is all I have found so far. Actually, I saw this shining in here. I'm gonna pick it up. I think this is part of the lifter as well. This is what I found throughout the engine, taking it apart. A little bit of bearing. I think that's the pin that goes inside of the lifter. So I was finally able to get that broken lifter out. Yeah, and all it seems is just the roller on it came off. This part used to be right there, hold it in. This might even be part of the roller, but I'm not too sure. I've never really dissected a lifter before and hope I never do again. So that's what I found on that. And that is a major failing point that I've seen on this engine. There's a couple nicks in the pistons. There's a couple score lines in some of the bearings. Like I said, I'm no expert on it. My dad says that the bearings, it looks like it could be normal wear and tear, but it definitely looks like there was some fine debris that went inside the bearings and kind of scored it a little bit. But I mean, other than that, I don't see any issues in the block. I'm about to turn the engine over just to take a look at the cylinders. I already did see some pitting before I took the engine apart, but now we can definitely go in there and just take a look at everything. I know for a fact I'm already gonna have to go and bore the cylinders at least 30 over. So now I know into this build I'm going to have to get new pistons. I'm not 100% too sure on which pistons I'm gonna go with, but definitely a flat top with just the valve relief, possibly forged. I was looking at some and they weren't looking too bad. Hoping I don't have to do too much to this engine. Maybe just bore out the cylinders and deck it and kind of call it a day. And then just build it back up and put a big cam in there, but we'll see. The engine had a little bit more damage than what I was hoping. The cam bearings are obviously going to need to be replaced. There's quite a bit of scoring in there. That lifter kind of did some damage. Also, too, those other cam lobes, I think it was this one with that big ridge right there. There's a few others that have some ridges, but all that's just material that's getting circulated through the engine and just causing wear and tear on everything else. I already got the pistons wrapped up. Just for now, I'm going to oil up the engine and then wrap it up just for keepsake. I live right on the coast, so the saltwater air is pretty prevalent, but the crank looks good. I'm gonna try to go and get the engine freshened up, bored 30 over, get new cam bearings and all that. They said there's about a 3-month wait time, which kind of sucks. So I gotta call around to see if there's any other machine shops that can get it done. But I'm glad the crank looks okay. It's still definitely reusable because, I mean, if the crank was bad, I would have to turn it into a 408 with a stroker kit. But at the moment, I don't have that kind of money to do that. It's going to be at least just a couple grand extra to add on to this project. So unless y'all watch this video and share it a bunch, I don't think I'll be able to afford that anytime soon. So that's going to conclude the video. If I rambled on too much or if I missed a few things, let me know in the comments. If you have any more questions about the engine or any suggestions on what I should do with the engine in the future, let me know. There will be a new video coming up soon as far as an update on what I can do to get it machined, or we're also going to take the crank out and stuff. But I'm going to do that another night. It's getting kind of late here. Also, if I still have y'all's attention, the past couple years I started a lure company, a fishing lure company. So feel free to go check out the website, snag yourself a couple fishing lures if you fish. I know it's not car related, but I know quite a bit of you probably fish. And so that'll help me out if y'all go and snag yourself some lures. They work great. You'll just see it on the website. You'll see it on the Instagram. They catch fish. So with that being said, I'm done with today, and I'll see y'all next video.